Chapter 30, Air Brake Foundation Systems and Air Brake Circuits, Day 1, Video 8, Air Dryer. So the need for the air dryer in the system, it's an inline filter in the air brake system we use to remove any contaminants, dirt, and that sort of thing. But the main component of it is implied by the name, is an air dryer, is to remove moisture from the air. So there, the room that we're in right now, there's a certain amount of moisture in the air. We can't see it, but if we were to take all the air in this room and compress it, reduce its volume, keep reducing it, into a maybe 1-inch cube, all that moisture that's in the air would gather together and then it would form water. So the more that we compress the air, there's moisture in it, it's going to gather together and now we're going to have water droplets. So we don't want water in the air brake system. Water displaces air. So we'd reduce our volume of available air. And then also air will cause rust and corrosion in the components. And then we can have water that may get in an airline or a valve. Colder temperatures could freeze and prevent that valve from moving. So air dryers also has the job of removing that moisture from the air. Inside the air dryer is a removable desiccant cartridge so that it becomes contaminated after so much use and so much time that it needs to be replaced, just like a oil filter would on an engine. Also built into the air dryer is an oil trap. It's a natural thing for the air compressor to pass oil into the discharge. We lubricate the cylinder walls, and the piston rings need oil in the cylinder walls for them to be lubricated and move up and down so that they don't wear out. Some of that oil is going to be passed on to the air. So that that air dryer, we've got a trap inside there to try and separate that oil out. And then just the makeup of the desiccant, tiny silica beads that cause the water to cling to it. So here's that replaceable cartridge here. So a very common air dryer. Located within it is that replaceable cartridge. The desiccant pack in here, the silica balls. I like to refer to those as having the shape of a golf ball. So lots of little dimples on those beads. So we've got millions and millions of little golf balls located in this desiccant cartridge. And that as the air passes around these little golf balls, the little dimples, we've got pressurized air, cause the moisture to cling to these little desiccant beads or the little golf balls, and the air passes by, but the moisture is attracted and gets stuck on the little dimples of the golf balls. The air passes through, comes around the volume here, and then out the discharge part of the air dryer. Now when we are compressing, we're under pressurized. The air inside here is pressurized, so all the moisture will stick to the golf balls inside here. It does not pass through. When we unload the compressor, we turn the compressor off. It's got up to its 120 or 130 psi. The governor turns turns on the unloader valve, so now we're no longer compressing air. It's also sending that signal down here to the discharge port on the bottom of the air dryer. And that piston moves over, and now it opens up the air that's trapped inside of here, right, to be discharged out the bottom or the exhaust port of the air dryer. And now we have a loss of air pressure. That moisture is no longer stuck to or attracted to the dimples on the golf balls. So we've got a volume of air built into this to the air dry here. As the air passes back through, all the moisture is released from the golf balls, gathered up in the air, comes through. We pick up any of that oil that's made it up in the trap that's been collected in the trap, and all that is purged out, disposed of out the bottom, the discharge port of our air dryer. So that's when you're sitting beside the truck at the stoplight and you hear the when it takes a while for that to come down. That is the air dryer purging. We get rid of all the moisture, all the oil, and then we've recharged that desiccant pack, and it's ready for the next cycle. And again, that air, it takes a while for it to all of it to leak out of the air dryer, the purge valve. Can be up to 30 seconds, but then it should stop. Some of the more advanced systems we've gotten away from, we've eliminated one of the reservoirs in the system, and I'll talk about that next. But we can combine into one unit our air dryer, so we call it a dryer reservoir module. So we've got the air dryer as part of it. We've got a governor located on here. This one's on the back side, and then the pressure protection valves, and it acts as a distribution valve here, but it replaces one of the reservoirs in here. So a dry reservoir module, they've got different names for that. So again, combining some of these functions into one component.